So then he would, that was necessary for defeating Amalek, because the level of Moshe Rabbeinu is the level that's necessary to defeat Amalek, being that Amalek is Yodeas Rabbeinu Mechavan Limrod Boy. He's in the way of Reishis Goyim Amalek. It's beyond a level of understanding, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the level of Chachma, the level of Chaya, which is the level of Reishis in Kedusha, is able to counteract the level of Reishis Goyim Amalek. So, and we went into explaining all about the concept of the Mochi Timche Zecher Amalek as well, that there's the level of, through reading Parshas Zocher, through doing mitzvahs b'poyel, so that helps bring out the Chochma Begoli that each one of us has to be able to counter Amalek. And this is the two stages, the Mochi Emcha that comes from above. That's the level of the Torah mitzvahs that comes from above, learning the Torah of Parshas Zocher, doing the mitzvahs, and through that becomes Timcha, that we do it down here. So now you can conclude about the Yarim Moshe Yad, Ois Yud Gimel, page 18. This is what it says. When Moshe Rabbeinu will raise his hand and the Yidden will overpower She'inyan Zenar Belchamas Amalek Dafke, this is said specifically by the war of Amalek, and not in the war against the 7 nations, like we said at the beginning of the Maimer. The idea of the war against the 7 nations, like we explained earlier in the Maimer. That's in the person's service. That's the level of refining the 7 emotional attributes, the 7 character traits. Maspika avoida shalpitam v'das. It's sufficient avoida that is based on reason. Midas b'chlolam sheyachim l'maychen. Like we said, midas in general are associated with the intellect, and therefore, when we have the intellect, when we have the reason, so he says, we're able to affect that the brain should rule over the heart. As opposed to the war against Amalek, Reishis Goyim, the beginning of the nations. He knows his master and he intends to rebel against them. Chutzpah bloitaga. It's a level of a chutzpah without a crown, meaning that there's no seichel, there's no reason behind the Amalek's attack against the Yidden. The same thing in the Avodah Nafsha Adam. There's no seichel that he is attacking the Yidden with. So the idea of knowledge alone, it's impossible to affect him. That's the idea of Yedeas Rabbeinu, he knows already. There's a need of Moshe Rabbeinu's power. Moshe Rabbeinu was the bittul that we are level of ma. It's a bittul that's beyond reason. That's what can attack and affect Amalek. The Etzloi Hayagam Inyan Hayidiyah, and by Moshe Rabbeinu there was also the level of Yidiyah. There was the Gilui of the Chachma Ba'ifin Shapal Gamal Aguf Shia Toiv Lagam Lichul Kanal Sefyud, in such a way that it affected also on the body, that it should be completely good as well, like we said in Sefyud, that Vateres Kitoiv, that the body was completely transparent, the godly light shone through it. He was able to have a nevuah without any type of losing any of his intellectual faculties and so on. The Inyan Yarim Moshe, what is specifically the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu raising his hands? So he says, it's the idea of raising up your hands in holiness. Like it's explained, look at the Torah, the Maimer titled Tzana V'Rena. These are 2 types of avoida. There is a unity of above and a unity of below. Sheb'shneihem yesh and in the Moshe. In both of them, there's the level of Moshe, otherwise known as Yichud Ilah, Yichud Tata, that he realizes the bittul hayesh la'ayin, even though the yesh exists, he realizes how it's bottled to the ayin, and then there's a Yichud Elyon, a higher level, that there is a recognition of Hashem being everything. There's no other existence whatsoever. And in both of them, there's the level of Moshe, the level of the Bittul, the level of L'mayla Metam V'das. The Indians of Paul, Abnei Yisrael, She Mistaklim Klapim Mayla Mishabim Salim Avim Shabashmayim. This also affected on the Yidden that they looked upwards and they made their heart subservient to the Eibishter. The Gemara says, "V'chiyadav shel Moshe Isis Muhammad." Does then the hands of Moshe do war? Rather, by Moshe Rabbeinu raising his hands, Yidden looked upwards, and they had also understood and appreciated that they have to look to the one above, look to the Eibishter. So the Rebbe connects it on a deeper level. It wasn't just the physical seeing Moshe Rabbeinu's hands raised, so that made them look up to Shemayim. But this raising of his hands brought about in the Yidden an inner look at the Eibishter. So the Rebbe says in line 18, Mistaklin. Histaklus, the word histaklus, there's different words for seeing and looking. Histaklus means re'iyah chazaka v'amitis, a strong looking. There's different times that the Gemara says what a person is not allowed to be mistakel, also listakel b'fnei adam rasha, or it's also listakel on women or whatever. It's not seeing, it's not just, you don't have to keep your eyes closed the whole time. What it means is histaklus means a strong looking. So we see, so the same thing, mistaklin klapim mayla means not just they saw, but they looked. Riyah chazak of amit is a strong looking. Inyan riyah the chachma. It's the vision of chachma. And they make subservient their heart to inyan kima mitzvahs v'poil. It's the idea of actually fulfilling mitzvahs. Because the fulfillment of mitzvahs has to be in the way of a servant, has to be in a way of the service of a servant. So inyan ashiba, that's the idea of the enslavement or the sublimating oneself to Hashem, that they look so to Hashem that they completely make themselves subservient to Hashem. So by having that bittul of the servant to Hashem, by Gabrim, through that they overpowered וגבר Yisrael. There should be the idea that Hashem says, I will eradicate Amalek. And when Hashem eradicates Amalek, meaning that's the empowerment that afterwards there should be able to be what it says in Pashke say, you shall eradicate Amalek. This is the famous thing about when mentioned also last time. It says Hashem will do it and we will do it. Hashem gives us the power, that's the Malcha Yamcha, and then we do it. Asher inyan zeh hu ba'niach havai lekechem kol evechem esaviv ba'aretz shavai lekechem noisloch, last page in the Maimer. This happens when Hashem relieves you of all your enemies around you. In the land that Hashem gives you a nachla l'rishta, a lot to inherit, like it says in Parshas Zocher, and this will be in its fullest and complete state, Begula mitzvah shleimah de Mashiach tzedkenu, the true and complete redemption through Mashiach.